about Gilly before when you asked me. This map, I feel like, is so much about that, right? It's about individual rotations, and this is going to be a true test for Team 12. Are they going to step up to the plate, each individual making the correct macro decision? And it looks like just getting into the draft, Team 12 just straight away says, we do not want to deal with Zelia's mouth, which I think is a really smart decision. They proved how good they are with it yesterday, and it just takes away the threat of Tracer.
I would like to see Dignitas maybe put focus into the Blaze over the Maiev. Even though Maiev has been a more dominant North American kind of pick up or play, or maybe even letting both through so you can try and get it for yourself, but I can't help but feel like dominance into the top lane and focusing on making sure that Dignitas has that is one of the most crucial elements when they are successful. Both when they struggled yesterday against Heroes Hearth, it was because Wubby was disadvantaged into the lane, and then also when they struggled against Zealots, it was oftentimes when Wubby was not with a profitable lane for the team.
Yeah, and I mean, by noticing that first ban on Malfurion, we do notice that Team Dignitas value that Malfurion pick so much, and they first picked it twice. When Heroes Hearth, Esports finally managed to ban that one out. That was actually the game they ended up dropping. Not because of that solely, they still had a very strong performance, but it's just showing that when you take that away, perhaps then now they have to think of another strategy. It's not their, go-to healer. When you take away Malfurion, they have to go to a go-to healer.
Yeah, and there it is, the Blaze first pick. I'm so happy seeing this. I mean, yesterday, near the end of the series, we saw pretty much every single team first banning or first picking the Blaze. The reason for that is the hero is so versatile in draft. Every single time it's first pick, I mentioned this because I think it's so important for people to understand, is the reason you pick this hero in first pick is it can go top lane, it can go in the 4-man, and it thrives in both. So like picking up a hero that is just so versatile, and basically Team Dignitas has no idea where this Blaze is going, right? So it literally shows nothing.
Dread, only one European team played Maiev yesterday, correct?
Fnatic was the only one prioritizing. I believe we had it played in a different team. You might be right, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I know that Fnatic was without a doubt the one, prioritizing it a little higher, especially out of Mene. I didn't expect to see the Tracer still locked in for Dignitas. I question if they wanted to maybe pull away with it or from it because the Malfurion removal and then also Blaze is rather problematic, but now that I say that, also Genji is generally speaking Dignitas' other hero to be able to put that pressure towards that top lane. And Genji not only hasn't been doing too high at the Western Clash, just generally speaking, he also has far less kill potential onto the Blaze, in particular just because the percentage damage, the quantum spike opportunities to be able to come out post 10. So I think I like to see this here from Dignitas, but by no means would Team 12 be concerned, right? This is kind of rinse and repeat what they should expect here from Dignitas.
Well, and I think this Tracer pick coming out by Dignitas is them sticking to their guns, saying, okay, we're really good at Tracer. We're some of the best Tracer team in the world. And we're just gonna, it might not be an ideal situation, but we're just gonna use our strengths and just try to win with it. So coming out in game one, this is just a very, in my opinion, meta draft for Dig. Basically, this is something we're really good at. Figure out how to counter it, or you're just going to lose over and over again. And the Rhaegar coming out, Rhaegar ETC, the double tank, I like the ETC pickup. They are going to be able to get the stage dive post 10, and he is pretty good into Dahaka later on.
So I have an interesting statistic there on Rhaegar. Rhaegar has actually won every game he has played at the Western Clash so far, even though he's not considered a mainstream support. 5-0. But 4 out of those 5 games has been when he is paired with Blaze. That is, I would argue, because Blaze naturally has so much utility in his default kit, and he isn't too cooldown dependent, and whenever you can restore his maximum HP, get the value out of the ancestral healing, he really is one of those like old school Sonya, when she, relative to everybody at that level of HP, had so much damage output and so much control, nobody could deal with it. And so I actually like to see this here from Team 12 in this position.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be Buds playing that one again. He picked it twice yesterday with great results, and I feel like, building onto your point, the reason why that Rhaegar has been so successful is because, like you said, although it's not, the first healer that you think of, the people who've been playing it is very much so a comfort pick for them, and sometimes we know how comfort picks can definitely trump meta any day, right?
Yeah, Buds loves that Rhaegar. And when you look statistically on the other side, Team Dignitas have never played Tracer without their Malfurion. This is the first time ever that they've done that throughout all of Part 1 of HGC. And Tyrael is 3 out of 10 games. But keeping with a lot of the consistent picks that we've had, involvement rate for Blaze, Malfurion, and Maiev, all 100% yesterday somewhere in the draft. And we're seeing that trend continue, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, the Hanzo ban coming out for Team Dignitas. I mean, so Team 12 has so many options here where, okay, they need 2 more damage picks. And they could pick up a, something like a Thrall. We saw Heroes Hearth perform really well on that hero yesterday. I personally think they're going to go into something like a Tychus, right? Since they have so much CC with the ETC Blaze, maybe something like a Tychus Leaming. That seems like a very scary, as well as safe backline into the Tracer, where Tychus gets Neo Steel Coating at 13. Basically, the spell armor makes him really hard for a Tracer to kill, as well as Leaming, she has that blink.
It's a really good ban from Team 12 if they end up ridding of the dock. I can't help but feel like with the problems and the focus that is necessary towards the top lane and how problematic Blaze has been at this tournament, he's one of the few heroes that can match it and provide any threat, not only to the solo, but the macro pressure onto the map. So now it really does kind of draw an interesting question of what Dignitas is going to do there. And I can't help but feel like the Hanzo ban on the side of Dig is already kind of committing to understanding that they are not going to be dominant on the top half of the map, that they have a far more interest. They've already got the Tracer. Tyrael's decent in that area to be able to synergize there. I want to see something very aggressive and dominant within their fort to where Team 12 has got to be more, you know, kind of considerate of the bottom lane.
I mean, the biggest thing I'm afraid of for Team Dignitas in their 4-man right now is, okay, so you have Tracer Tyrael. Most likely both of those heroes are going in the 4-man. Neither of them have wave clear. Like, Tyrael is semi-okay, but Tracer absolutely no wave clear. And on the side of Team 12, if they do end up throwing that Blaze in the 4-man, Blaze Rhaegar is a lot of wave clearers already. I mean, you can throw the ETC in as well and throw the Blaze top. I mean, both kind of work. But like for Dignitas, they look like they're trying to run a dive comp, right? They want to dive, but generally heroes that are really good at diving, those Genjis, right? They don't have a lot of wave clear, so that could be a really difficult situation for Dig, where they just draft too much dive and aren't able to, you know, focus on the lanes. Uther, Chromie, I would love to see Lunara. Team 12, I would love to see Lunara right here.
Chromie has yet to win a game in this tournament. She's been played 3 times, all 3 losses. And as you said, Team 12 is a team that throughout Part 1 has been willing to draft Cure his Lunara in times when they're against the solo Uther.
I mean, it worked very well on towers yesterday when we did see Cure, and we saw a lot of harass coming out onto a Genji, and I mean, I'd like to see that again. I feel like it's very, very appropriate. You've got such a great sort of front line, as well as that Rhaegar to keep you nice and safe. So yeah, it would just, I guess, add to the power that they're already packing.
Okay. This might be a bold prediction.
Hit me with it.
But I feel like if Team 12 picks up, so I think they're gonna go Lunara plus another damage, something Tychus leaning. I think Dignitas is going to pick out the Stitches again, and they'll throw Tyrael into the top solo lane.
I agree with you in the fact that I don't think that this is as clear-cut as that Tyrael's JPL on the floor.
Yeah.
I think that is very much, since beginning of the pick, that it could have been Wubby's interest into it. I don't know if Stitches is going to be that backup. The Gul'dan might be enough for them to make the transition. I can't help but feel like, is it like something more offensive to get the pick into the 4, like a Garrosh or something a little bit more unique? Yes, Stitches does cater to that and is more comfort for Dignitas, but to be honest, I struggle to look at Stitches and go, that is overly meta / you aren't too dependent onto your hook for the most part. So I go, I'd like to see you avoid it, but I can see that focus. If not, and that Tyrael is going to be Jay, would we see then the standard Leo, which was the matchup that we saw Dig pick into the Blaze last time? It works okay with Chromie, but it typically is going to be damaged so heavily by Gul'dan and Greymane that you really don't want to be locking that in. Like, this is way too much poke to deal with.
And that's why I'm like leaning towards the Stitches is I look at Leo, right? And that's kind of your standard meta top laner in this situation against the Blaze. But it's just so, in my opinion, not that good with your comp, right? Like, yes, you have Entomb, but outside of that, your team is really running a lot of low on CC, and Team 12 has a Curse Bullet coming out for Greymane, where late game, you're just going to die over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I was also going to suggest a Leoric, but then just sort of was like, yeah, you can kind of focus on the Gul'dan, trap a couple, but then you just hamper yourself so much by that lack of CC. That's really, really worrying me, but they go for it anyway.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can tell.
It's a hard spot to be in, right?
You can absolutely tell that is not a confident
Wubby
Leo pick. You're just like, I'm going to get poked to death. I'm going to struggle in my lane. And already the 4-man, I'm not looking at it as overly dominant. And the fact that that's game number 1, you can look at it and be like, Dignitas doesn't feel overly confident.
On the Dig map?
On a Dig map, like, you got to be raising some questions. At least just a moment to be like, I'm not as sold, you know, as definitely I was before that draft in the series.
I mean, but I do feel like a lot of their draft issues came up with them one-twoing the Tracer, right, without the Malfurion.
Yes,
and I think that is just a bold, confident, all right, we're world-class on Tracer, and yes, we might not have the most optimal comp, but beat us with it, right? Like, we recognize,
I think that's a really good thing to bring up, is because that was really the breaking point. You know, oftentimes when you see moments like that in the draft, it can be difficult to be like, where was the decision that kind of forces you into these awkward moments? But it very much was like, okay, here's the doing this for the first time ever with the most common pairing that we've seen, you know, come to light, and then suddenly you hit that moment where they end up committing to the very, very rigid, repetitive composition. It's not what I'd like to see here for Dig, to be honest. I expected them to be very, very aggressive.
I mean, as you said, it's not really like they needed to do that anyway. They have some of the highest hero pools available to them, so just wondering why were they so confident with this? Or like you said, they just overcommitted, it feels like, to that Tracer.
Let's get the predictions. Do you feel like Team 12 did it and outdrafted it, forcing Team Dignitas into a weird situation, or are you gonna stick to Dignitas being the favorite, Mike?
I am going to go with Team 12 wins this game. Simple as that. Their draft's so much better. Like, yeah, in my eyes.
Bandy?
Team 12 as well. Really convinced by the draft. Need to see how Dignitas is going to play.
I think Team 12 definitely won the draft, but that's not my vote. Dignitas will be the vote because it's on their map, and to be honest, they're insane still. They're a very good team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they managed to win this game even being outdrafted.
I feel like the outdrafting is enough for me. I'll vote for Team 12 too. But we'll see, because Team Dignitas is the favorite for this tournament. Let's see what you guys are thinking at home. Of course, you can continue to vote throughout. Chat agreeing with you, Dread, and it's no surprise, it is Team Dignitas. They look great, and they continue to get stronger. Let's head over to the casting desk for game 1 between Team Dignitas and Team 12.
Super excited to see this matchup. Chromester coming in here for Poik, which is something that is very deadly indeed. And then you have Tracer there with Snitch, but will it be good enough against the other side, Team 12, with the outdraft, as the panel say?
I'm just happy that I didn't have to give my prediction. This is a good draft
I can
for
put you on the
both
spot
teams.
right now if you want.
Let's not. Let's actually get into the game here, because on the left, we've got Team Dignitas. That's going to be Snitch on Tracer, JPL on Tyrael, Zelia on Uther, Poik on Chromie, and Wubby on Leoric.
And on the right side, in the red, Goku. Playing Blaze, Dansky on Gul'dan, Buds on Rhaegar, Justing on ETC, and Cure will play Greymane.
All right. This is EU versus North America. Kind of the top two teams from both regions, respectively, towards the end of last year. We see Team 12 coming in as the number 2 seed here, but they're going up against the dominance of Dignitas. And I don't think anybody kind of expected after week 4 that you'd say, all right, we've got some teams that are a threat towards Dignitas because they look so good. But am I wrong in thinking that this is kind of up in the air?
Oh, I would say the dominance that we expect from Dignitas was not on full display yesterday during their matches, but I do expect them to show up today, Saturday. I really want to see them bring what they have available to them. And so far, when you look at the hero loss that they have currently with Chromie and Tracer, I'm very excited in that regard. This is probably some of the best assassins that we have for Snitch and Poik. And we have a pretty solid Tyrael. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about, kind of reflected by the panel, was the Leoric pickup. That top lane is going to be very difficult. Blaze, as we know, very solid in that solo lane against a Leo. You have a very hard time trading into it. So it might be a bit difficult, but I'm just waiting for those kills to come in, which I'll be looking at Stitch here in the middle, seeing if they get those fights they want.
See if those fights do come available. And Trixler, you and I were on Cursed Hollow yesterday where we saw Rhaegar and Greymane pretty much run around the map, control camps, control a lot of rotations. And instantly they're coming in here, picking up their Siege Giants at the first minute mark. Will we see them make the same type of plays that we saw yesterday where they literally just roam for camps and force you to rotate on structures?
I mean, definitely. We already see it right now, moving straight into a night camp once again. I mean, this is what they do well, right? Greymane and Rhaegar clear out camps as quickly as possible, and Dignitas is starting to look for it. It's going to be a bit harder compared to what we saw on Cursed Hollow, simply because the map is a bit smaller, but Team 12 seems to have their timings down as they get another night camp and will look to push top lane.
I like the fact that they have a strategy in mind here, Trixler. They've clearly got the Rhaegar Greymane rotation. They picked up the Gul'dan to be the wave clear. The only problem is they kind of ignored the fact that the altars have to be spawned. The shrines are there.
Mercenary camps are objectives, but there is a grander objective to look at, and that's going to be the Dragon Knight. Team Dignitas identifies that they went for a giant camp, identifies they went for a night camp, and sneaks away the dragon. So they're going to get some damage on the turrets. Early dragon, not going to be the most substantial thing ever, but Team at 12 doesn't get much on this top lane. They were unable to push with it as they had to head to the bottom lane. So Dignitas takes this night camp push that you would normally see, breaking down turrets with the Greymane and Rhaegar backing it up, and they flop it on its head and say, come defend this dragon instead.
It's a bit unfortunate, I think, for Team 12 because they came in with a very clear-cut strategy. For what it's worth, though, yesterday they were a little bit slow to start. They were thwarted by the Blaze. And in this case, they're thwarted again. And I can't help but wonder if Team 12, with their strategy, if they kind of forgot, hey, look, timing is a little bit more important here. But I still think they have a strategy in mind. The core concept is there. The execution on the first 2 minutes, probably not what they anticipated.
No, and they are actually pretty far behind here. A full level. Dignitas has this way when they are playing together, when they are on the same train of thought of sneaking some experience in. And them getting a couple turrets here as well as grabbing other lanes has given this big lead to them. They're about to hit level 7. They're grabbing their own giants now. And since Team 12 grabbed the giants and night camp on their side of the battleground, all they have here is to sit and play defense.
I think the thing that scares me is the fact that Dignitas plays from ahead probably better than any team in the Western region,
Yeah, I'd agree
by
with that.
far.
They do not make mistakes. Dignitas already moving towards that level 8. We'll see what heroic gets picked up by Kuromi. Now working on their night camp with Leo. Look at this, the mini-map here on the right side. Coming around to the middle. Already clearing the top lane, allows for him to find out, okay, where's Greymane at? Will there be an invade that comes their way? Wubby just making sure his team is set in stone to grab that night camp so they can get a push going in the top lane.
Yeah, and I think 12, they have to find a push because during the next altar phase, we're going to be looking closer towards 10. So that race for 10 will undoubtedly be a thing. And if you're a full level behind, you're potentially giving up another Dragonite. So Team 12 needs to find some way to utilize that Rhaegar Greymane, try and find a way to get some structures down because it's going to be hard to take a team fight against this team with Chromie playing so far back, Tracer with the mobility, Leo and Tyrael with the mobility. It's going to be hard to find the picks I think that they would like.
I think at this point, they're just waiting for 10 or waiting for someone to mess up on Dignitas' side. So you see them sitting in bushes. You have Justin here on the left side, watching that Bermuda triangle, seeing if you find someone he can pick off with a power slide into an engage, but nothing is presenting itself, which means Team 12 has to go with option B. Just wait around here, wait for level 10, maybe get a fight around a shrine, but Dignitas so far ahead already. Slowing Sands coming out for the Chromie, getting the top lane pushed in. Goku in trouble, and there's a kill.
Yeah, I think Goku, it's just, this is Dignitas in a nutshell, right? It's like, as you just said, they're hiding in the bush. They're looking for opportunities. This is something that Wubby and team, they do so well. You hide in the bush. Just because there's a wave there doesn't mean you have to go out and clear it. You just sit there, you wait, you look for an opportunity on that mini-map, and Blaze sitting just way too far out there. That's a bit of a mistake, I think, on the side of Team 12, and that is just Team Dignitas at their best. That's exactly what they do 90% of the time. When they have that lead, they don't have to force it.
Yeah, it's all about controlling the vision. Vision being a key contributor to a lot of picks. Team 12 was doing the same, but just didn't work out for them in the middle lane. And now with Tim right around the corner, Team 12 realizes they have to play on the defensive side. They put 4 near the middle area in case the shrine is to be grabbed. They want to try and force a fight before that 10 hits. But Dignitas clearing out the wave right away will get them that 10. And Snitch is even going for a sneak.
He's going for the sneak. This is going to be another dragon. I was going to say, there's no way they can stop that. Gul'dan was trying to. You could see him on the mini-map. Now, this is going to be a DK pushing in. This is going to be a chance for the lead to kind of snowball a little bit because now you're looking at, because you have the threat of 10, you're looking at potentially not 1 fort, but 2, and that's kind of scary. But alternatively, when I look at Team 12, and I'm looking at the options, outside of Uther, we don't have any real stuns. This seemingly would be a mosh pit game, right?
Yeah, mosh pit could be great here. I mean, there's no reason to get your Blaze in that front line if you don't need to. Yeah, this feels like a mosh pit type of playstyle. Granted, you do have to worry about Chromie, Tracer not being grouped up. They're going to be on different sides of the fight. Tracer will be more in the front line, Chromie on the back. Slowing Sands coming out here on the bottom lane as Between 12 actually steps up a little bit, but they got to be careful here. Actually, moving to the Slowing Sands could spell disaster for them.
Yeah, they're definitely hesitant to go there. They're close to 10. The forts are near fallen. The one in the mid focused on the DK, but here at the bottom is where the real action is. You can see the flank already. Justin coming in from the left side. 10 is here. Mosh Pit is locked in. He's going to look for an opportunity. Doesn't have the follow-up damage just yet. Unable to pull the trigger. But that is a threat, and that forced them back, and it saved their fort momentarily.
And you saw how Dignitas identified that threat, too. You had Tyrael on the right side being separated. You had Uther on the top left, Chromie sieging from afar. They're not grouping up. They're not giving Justin the opportunity to go in for the engage. Here comes an Entomb. Ancestral Healing will keep Justin alive, but boy, he keeps poking.
He's poking, and it is hurting. And you are in a choke point against the Chromie. That is difficult. You can actually see at the very bottom of the screen, JPL is sitting there hiding on the other side. He has Eldrones. He can get over there, has the Sanctification. If anything did get problematic, that would turn very quickly in Dignitas' favor. Doing a really good job playing around vision, knowing their opportunities. Dignitas, they held there. But Team 12 unable to confirm a kill yet in this game.
While we wait for the night camp to be grabbed by Team 12, look at a Chromie, 31 stacks currently on her quest, so halfway there. Poik delivering on the Chromie. I was going to say, I was a little disappointed yesterday from Nick. Nick, usually one of the strongest Chromies we have in EU, and didn't fully deliver, but Wubby, in a weird situation, gets picked off in the top lane.
That timing, though, that timing on the power slide the minute Wraithwalk ended, had that been another half second later, he might have been able to get to the gate just close enough, but they weren't unable to get out of there was Wubby. And that kill gives them a bit of experience. But Team Dignitas, they showed their attention, turned it towards the camp at the bottom. They're also going to invade here on the siege camp. Trickster, we're looking at double siege with Night Camp pushing bottom lane.
Yes, this is a massive push, and this is going to be warranted due to that gank on the top lane, as you just mentioned. Night Camp, double Giants, you have a Chromie sieging from afar. Dansky has to be careful. If a Dragon's Eye connects with him, suddenly he's going to be on half health, and Rhaegar's going to be freaking out. Very difficult for him to clear this up. The Giants continuing to help out with the assist as well, and this timing comes out really greatly due to the follow-up of the shrines activating in the next 5 seconds. This means that Team Dignitas can pull back and try to grab those shrines quickly or set up a gank.
Blaze had to just dash out of there. He was in the middle. He was trying to come down, clear some of the minions, maybe look for a flank. Dignitas sniffed that out. But Dignitas walking away with a keep wall at 8-9 minutes into the game. Now they have the talent tier advantage momentarily. But if they do get a DK, Trixler, now that bottom keep is exposed.
Very huge threat that Team 12 will have to worry about, and they are respecting it well. Grouping up here in the middle. Finally, they peel off Blaze. They don't see Leorc nearby at all. Justin should be able to, like, oh my gosh, he's able to grab the dragon because they use the D-shield.
That's one way, and you think, all right, 90-second cooldown, is it hashtag worth?
Yeah.
I think DK at this point, yeah. Very much so. It's going to stretch their lead because getting this fort wall here, or the keep wall if they want to, or the bottom keep, will push them very close to 16. Now, not only getting them that talent tier advantage in terms of experience, but putting them in a very dominant position by having that bottom lane control.
Well, it's also very obvious that all they want to do is just open up the map more. They realize the dragon, it's still early. Remember, we're sub 10 minutes. Even though this is the third dragon of the game, we're still sub 10 minutes. So if being able to poke down the walls is great, but they've left Leorc in the top to also soak experience and work towards that level 16. So Dignitas trades a Divine Shield for more experience on the map and more of opening up the battleground. Great little trade for them.
Can see the slowing sands and Chromie just poking from so far away. They have 16. There's only 20 seconds left on the DK. I don't think they're going to get much more out of it. But getting the wells down, just getting the structures down, just putting the enemy team in such a bad spot. We now see Team 12 just a few minutes ago was only down 1 level. Now it's 2 levels. You're down 2 keep walls. And you're basically on a timeline at this point in the sense that you only are going to have so many more options for the rest of the game. And Dignitas, they don't have to force anything.
They're choking him out. They are taking their hands and putting it around Team 12 and choking them out slowly. Sorry to get a little too graphic there, but that's what's happening.
It could be Bart Simpson style.
Yeah, it's Bart Simpson style. Get the tongue flunging out, but he still lives. It's fine. Kier taking some damage there. Ancestor healing doesn't connect in time. Wubby with the Entomb. Slowing Sands in the Chromie combo just enough. And Team 12 loses their Greymane.
Yeah, and it's all because the Chromie poke is just starting to become way too oppressive, and Wubby finding the situation, getting that Entomb, finding that easy lockdown is making it happen. That Dragon's Eye hit directly in there. Now they have their eyes firmly set on this keep. Slowing sands are going to be there. Wubby's got to be careful on the backside. Stitch going in, has the pulse bomb, and it is going to be enough as Gul'dan goes down.
Justin comes in for the mosh pit, but there's no damage to follow up. Bud's trying to trade out with Stitch, but that trade is not working out for him. Goku dropping down the Pyromanic and the bunker just to escape if he can here, but Bud's not so lucky. A sandblast to the face gets the kill.
He gets the kill. Poik landing every skill shot imaginable to keep sitting at about half health. You can see the Dragon's Eye almost caught Goku on the way out of there. This will be the first keep falling in favor of Team Dignitas, and it seems like the skirmishes over the last minute have heavily turned this in favor of Dignitas.
This is the Dignitas I want to see. Clean, controlling the battleground, the macro is great, far ahead in experience, decisive in their kills as well. Even the play down the bottom left near the Giants where we had that Entomb on an ETC and it was saved due to an Ancestor healing, the decisiveness to go, okay, can't get another kill. Let's go ahead and back up, we'll control space, we'll take the Giants instead. Dignitas today has delivered so far here in game number 1, but Team 12 still has a chance. 16 is right around the corner.
They have a fighting chance. Unfortunately, Mosh Pit was used that last game. They're 60 seconds away. They'll have an opportunity to get 16. They need to try and hold a little bit longer. You can actually see on the minimap, ETC and team, they're going to look for the Leorc. The problem is with Leorc this late in the game, it's hard. You can even see Chromie providing vision. This is the ultimate team with Dignitas. They have control of the lanes. They have Leorc that's able to get out of there. This is Wubby. This is Polk. They're all working together to be a fundamental piece to make them just far away the better team in most situations.
Team 12 just needs one more wave here to get that 16. Can grab it in the middle lane. Uther watching out for them though. He's gonna be able to sneak back to his towers. That's kind of the benefit of being ahead in the late game and having your structure set up. You have a defensive spot to run to, but Poik maybe has stepped out a little bit too much, gets engaged upon, will drop the timeout, gets a Divine Shield, escapes, but Team 12, they put some fear in.
They put some fear in. I think that's a good spot because now we don't get the free cap like we saw Uther use that last time. And there's no longer that save. All you have is that cleanse, that hand of protection for Uther in case the mosh pit comes in, because that will be available as of now. So now we can see if Team 12 can take a team fight. Chromie also won't have that timeout available for a little while longer as well.
Should be up soon. Some poke coming out for Chromie. Tracer working on the middle lane, denied some experience. While that is a bit of an issue, Team 12 still is on the same talent tier, and they're wanting to fight before 20 hits for Dignitas, so they don't mind too much here. Sharking around and looking for something that might be open for them, but with Team Dignitas responding so well. Time Trap here to the left, you have JPL with escapes, Azalea's here with the cleanse that you were talking about. It's very difficult for Team 12 to find these kills. They're looking for it, and they're doing pretty well in terms of rotations, but it's a little bit too difficult with Team Dignitas just reading too well.
Snitch and Leoric are just, as you said, sharking around. They're just sitting there in the middle. They realize Hulk can poke from so far away. JPL, the Eldruin's might. He can get in and out if he needs to. He can keep them honest because every time he gets on this with slowing sands, they can kind of force Team 12 to stay in this situation because Team 12, they're going to be looking for the fight. The time trap's going to be there, and directly out of that bunker comes down, but Goku's low right now, Trixler.
He's low, trying to get away. We'll get the heal from Buds, and Sester healing as well, jumps to the bunker to make sure that connects. JPL going for the escape. There's going to be a mosh pit on the side to try and slow down the targets, but it doesn't work out. Dansky on the back line gets caught by Wubby. He's low. There's a crushing hand on him. He turns around for the drain life, barely surviving the Divine Shield as Wubby escapes. Both teams haven't lost a member yet.
And I think that also the Horrify was used right after the Divine Shield went out there, so they could not lock that down. I think that mosh pit might have been Justine trying to exit the bunker because you do have to use that R button because there was not a target in there. So unfortunate for them. Mosh pit is down. We're looking at close to 20 here for Dignitas. So they've got another Dragonite potentially looking at in the game here.
And they'll be able to group this with the catapults that are pushing in the bottom lane. Only one grouped up. We should have 2 to 3 towards the end of this push. Dignitas starting to trump forward. 12 might have to force a fight now. And yes, here they come. Goku sharking around the dragon. Justin gets kicked, goes for a power slide, but misses out.
They're missing out. Goku getting low. He has his bunker. He goes down again. He's going to walk away for the moment. Ancestral is not here. And that's going to be a pulse bomb. The boot away. Gotta love those animations. JPL taking a bit of damage, but they are on the forefront, on Team 12's doorstep, looking to close out game number 1.
Goku got shot into the sky like a rocket there. Dragon's combo coming out there from Chromie. Lands a little bit of damage on Buds, but it's all about the defense here for Team 12. Oh no, with Gold Apple on this defense does not look like they'll be able to pay off for it. Silence comes out on the ETC as well, and he's dead meat. He gets picked off, and Team 12, losing 4 members, will have Dignitas taking out their core, safe for good measure, but this game was pretty much done. Dignitas with the 1-0 over Team 12.
It's a clean victory, I think, for Team 12. Yes, that was a dominant victory for Dignitas, but at the same time, this was Dignitas' map choice. This is what you could argue is their best battleground. So, yes, you lost that first game, but we're in best of 5s today, Trixler, so Team 12, a lot more opportunities to turn this around.
Yeah, it certainly will be about adaptation here for Team 12. It seems like they gotta make sure that their early game is